Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Woo! It's Friday. Very exciting. How are you doing? Kirsten Liebelt. And if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I always like to know where people are coming in from. That's always very, very exciting. And so today, another episode before the Labor Day weekend. To chat about some insulin resistance. So I hope that you guys I hope you have really good plans for Labor Day weekend, like something that's just refreshing, something that's maybe family oriented, hopefully, I don't know. But it's like we kind of block the seasons with Memorial Day and Labor Day, right? Like in Minnesota, especially Minnesota, very much like you get 3 months. That's it. You get 3 months, so use them well. So I always am like, let's go out with a bang, so to speak. And everything that's after Labor Day is total gravy. Any good weather, any going into that fall season, pumpkin spice latte season, all that good stuff. So, all right. So hi from Canada, Ireland. Oh, my stars. That's awesome. I love Ireland. I have somebody from Ireland that jumps on my Facebook business page. So that's really, really fun. Canada, I have just been gaining in Canadian customers, and it has been fun to do that. So thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you so much. And if you're on TikTok, come in from the balcony, and I would just love for you to join in today. So let's talk today specifically about grains. Okay, but hold on, just don't scroll yet. Hold on. I titled this like over on my IG and my Facebook, basically, Keto Bread and Zero Carb Tortillas are ruining your weight loss. And is that you? And I want to chat about it for a second. And I'm going to tell you why. Where did this thought process come from? So yesterday we did I think it was yesterday, we brought up something and I said I should do a live on that. But I was at the Minnesota State Fair this year already twice. So it's a 10-day event. Good morning, Magda. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate you so much. I was at the Minnesota State Fair twice, and we're going to go again now on Sunday. And I actually did upload a reel about eating keto at the Minnesota State Fair. It was not hard. Now, is everything perfect? Probably not. Like, for instance, I ordered like big fat bacon on a stick. They probably did have like sugar in the, maybe in some of the process or whatever. My particular piece did not have any like sugar remnants on it. So I'm super glad about that. But it's like not everything was exactly perfect because you can't control like if there's a seed oil, whatever. However, but in general, doing keto at the fair was not hard. It was actually really kind of enjoyable. And I know exactly what I'm going to get when I go back on Sunday, because Sunday is our family day, meaning all day. Because when I was a little girl, we went to the state fair every single year like clockwork. My Italian dad, we never knew how many days he went to the state fair. He would go just for like lunch. I mean, he would pay the ticket price just to go for lunch. And then he would do this day after day because he owned businesses downtown Minneapolis. And so you're just a hop, skip, and a jump over to St. Paul to go to the fair. And so that's what he would do all the time. So I was raised to where Labor Day morning, Monday morning, we got up super early and we would have breakfast at a restaurant, and all the kids were antsy as just all get out. We were like, come on, when is the Midway going to open? When are the rides going to open? Like, this was a really big deal. So if you don't know, like pieces of my story, my dad died of type 2 diabetes when he was 63 and I was only 30. And it literally framed my entire life. This is why I get on here and talk about insulin resistance literally every single day. He was insulin dependent, type 2. He had all of the medical procedures. He did all of them. He like ran that race like right to the end, meaning like he had heart procedures and heart surgeries and pacemaker and kidney dialysis, and he did it all. And his function of life went like this, which seemingly correlated with how many meds he was on. So I'm now 59. I don't take any meds. I'm the only one in my family to have avoided type 2. I took the route of supplementation. I did the opposite. So anyway, so going to the fair, there are many, 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 many things that are gluten-free. So we think that being gluten-free is a good, I mean, it's a good thing for those who have gluten sensitivities. Yes. However, gluten-free is not the same as grain-free, and we should not confuse them when talking about keto. So I'm going to just touch on a few things today. I actually have like real reasons why ditching grain as the number one thing to do. Man, you are going to go further, faster, and you're going to feel amazing quicker. Hold on. Good morning, Matt. Good to see you. You just flew up for the weekend to the Minnesota State Fair, as my husband is from Golden Valley. Oh my stars, AJ, that is amazing. That is so fun. So I'm going to be there all day Sunday with my family. Isn't that funny? He's from Golden Valley. So Golden Valley from where I live is, is it 15 minutes? Like my godparents lived in Golden Valley my whole life. So I know Golden Valley. Like, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I grew up in a suburb. You can tell him I grew up in Eden Prairie, which is not very far from Golden Valley. So isn't that interesting? Very fun. Super cool. You ate corn on the cob and the mini donuts, nothing on a stick, and you're from New York City. Woohoo! That is so fun. Parking was crazy. Yes, parking is crazy at the Minnesota State Fair. Yes, it is. And when we went on Tuesday morning, so my husband is actually in radio. And so he had to be there last Thursday, Friday, and then all this week. And he had to be there at like 6 a.m. every day. So his parking is amazing because he can get in early. So on one day, Tuesday, he said, why don't you come in? I'll have you on the air, blah, blah, blah. So we did that. But when we got there, the storms the night before had literally flooded the Minnesota State Fair. So we got in and we're only letting vendors in. The place was like, I mean, we just slid right in. It was beautiful because, that's whatever, like everybody else they were in line and they had to close the fair for hours. But part of the reel that I did was, if anybody knows the Minnesota State Fair and the food building, like it was empty. I've never in my entire life, I'm 59 years old, ever seen the food building empty because I'm not a worker, right? So I would not, but it was open. But it was empty because people had not been let in yet other than vendors. So it was really kind of amazing. She went on Friday night last week and it was great weather. That's wonderful. Yeah. The Minnesota State Fair is really has a very special memory for me. And, it's always about my dad, right? That's my connection. I remember my dad when his function was decreasing, we would go to the fair and he would be in a wheelchair. And the grandstand is this huge honking building that has 2 layers to it. And from the top layer down to the street or down to another part of the fair, it's this huge ramp. And so we would like joke around with my dad because we were pushing him around in his wheelchair. Remember, he died at 63. 63 is so insanely young, right? But type 2 diabetes, this is what can happen, right? And so we would like let go of his wheelchair and go, look, Dad, no hands. Ha ha ha. And you girls, blah, 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 and we were teasing him and having, so we have really good memories. And yeah, anyway. All right, let's get to the green. I know so many people that are your dad died at 67. Yep. Same story. It's really tragic. And this is why I come on every single day. And the reason why it is so freaking tragic in the United States of America is because this is not a terminal diagnosis. Like, stop it already. Stop it. This is so dumb. This is so dumb that we live in the 21st century with all of this information, with all of this live video, and we're still going to the matrix and asking for answers. Just a little bit more, please. Could you help me just a little bit more? And they're like, pretty much no, we got nothing for you. Oh, shoot. That's right. We do have something for you. We have another script, or we'll up to the dose of the scripts you're taking. Literally, those are their answers. Well, I demand for myself better than that. I'm the consumer of their services, so pretty much not interested. That's where I come from, because that's dumb that he died at 67. It's dumb that my dad died at 63. This isn't a cancer diagnosis. Stop it. This is a metabolic dysfunction that comes from the way we eat. Let's fix that and have quality of life. Let's take back our bodies. Let's feel really good because we can. And then let's make more memories. Like, let's get busy making memories with our families and with the things that we want to do the most. Seriously, like, it is such an important piece of our world to be able to actually like enjoy those grandbabies that we were waiting for all this time. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because people want to take a pill because it's easy and they think it's a quick fix. I know. But do you know what I found out? That changing out my ingredients wasn't as hard as I thought. I talk about that a lot with you guys. So again, if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know that. And if you have not heard about the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, jump in there, search it and jump in there. Tell them Kirsten sent you. And we do a challenge every month. We have another one starting September 9th. We do ingredient trade outs. I do a pantry and a fridge reveal. We do a recipe. We talk about targeted supplementation. I tell you exactly how I started, how that helped me turn back from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. It brought me back so that I could actually lose 3 sizes in my 50s. Like, good stuff. Keto lasagna and chocolate pudding and all the good stuff. Okay. There's so many people that have bought into the marketing. You got a letter saying that you were diabetic and they gave you a script, lots of research on your part, still working on it. Good for you, Barb. You keep going. Become your own advocate. The fact that you're even on my content tells me that you want something different. And that's a good thing, because this is ridiculous. They own the world. I have to censor my speech because they have power. Okay? You just have to think about that for a second. And again, if you're on my content, you know what I'm talking about. Come on. How censored are we? Are you freaking kidding me? Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe I have to do a live on that too. I'll just keep spelling things out. It's okay. No big deal. We'll just keep going because we're just going to keep on talking to people. So oftentimes marketing is the number one issue that we have, because the crop industries own like everything. Like, they have so much power and so much say, very similarly to big PHARMA, right? So there's this huge lobbying that takes place, and it affects our food supply in this, where you go to the store and you meet the product in the aisle, and you are inundated with marketing that is bad. So therefore you think you're doing good things, but they just want you to buy their product. I mean, that's just all that they want, but they already influence the food pyramid. If you know the food pyramid that we were given in our grade school or whatever, we were given, hearts on Instagram. That's funny. They were given, what is it? 9 to 11 servings or 7 to 10 servings a day of grain. That is a joke, you guys. That is a joke. That is not good. This is why we're in the pickle we are in. We're fatter than we've ever been. We're more medicated than we've ever been. We're sicker than we've ever been. We've got so many issues, right? Well, grain is the number one thing. If I was going to tell anybody anything, number one, ditch grain, get rid of grain. And because it's so pervasive, but I'm going to tell you what the issues are with it. When it leads you up to insulin resistance. It walks you right in the door of insulin resistance because it's in everything. And then it keeps you stuck because it keeps on spiking your sugar so much. All right. So when you are keto and you go to Aldi's and you see them saying keto bread, that is a lie. Keto is not grain. Okay. They're just lying to you. So you have to rewire your brain towards things that are actually the truth. The second thing would be like zero carb tortillas. So many people are doing zero carb tortillas. And I am just here to tell you that is not helping you. You are literally choosing, without knowing most of the time, to stay on this hamster wheel of frustration. That's what that is. And it is very, very like, after a while, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but you're not sure. Like sometimes you feel like you can't put your finger on what is it that you just can't quite, like, what is it that's, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating clean, right? Like I hear this, you have no idea. I would be so wealthy if I had money for every time somebody wrote me that in my inbox because I understand, but it's the culture of making us think that we're doing something that's helping us and it's not. So let me help you. If you're insulin resistant, you're on my content for a reason, right? You're insulin resistant. Maybe you already know you're pre-type 2. Maybe you are already type 2. Okay. So there's this stream. Thank you for the likes, you guys, thank you for the like on TikTok. I would love it if you guys would help out with tapping the screen on TikTok. It gets it out into the universe. I know that they suppress certain things. It's okay. Anyway, so if you're already insulin resistant, you're just in a different land. Okay. Let's just go ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and just address the reality that once you cross over into insulin resistance land, you're just going to do things a little differently. Okay. It's not bad. It's actually easier than you think, but let's just get a few things straight in our heads so that we can actually make progress. Because the testimonies that I have of people, when I work with them with the trio, those are the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. When I do that, the testimonies are getting off of BP meds, losing weight, sugars coming down, those morning sugars dropping, things that people actually want, but you can't make progress if there are few things that are hitching you, kind of like getting in your way. So zero carb tortillas, no. Keto bread from Aldi's, no. And I'm sure there are many other examples, but here's why. Because if you know why, you will adopt it more easily and readily into your understanding. You won't feel like you're doing things for deprivation. You'll feel like you're doing things because, oh, that's right. That makes sense in my brain. Okay. So that's what I'm counting on. Just make keto hot dish. My mother was a really good hot dish girl. Let me tell you, she was a good we had a lot of elbow macaroni going on in my house. Just telling you. So here are 5 reasons why giving up grain can be really, really helpful for you. Okay. Number 1, high sugar spiking. You just can't get away from it. If you are insulin resistant, and I'm making up my own terms. Okay. I'm differentiating on my own terms. It's all insulin resistance. Spoiler alert. It's all insulin resistance, but I'm just going to give you 3 terms: insulin resistant, pre-type 2, type 2. Okay. So no matter where you are on the spectrum, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No matter where you are on the spectrum, if you are spiking your sugars when you open your mouth and you put food in it, this is not serving you. Okay. So avoiding grains completely. Number 1, high sugar spiking. Number 2, creates inflammation. Really hard on people who have irritable bowel syndrome or leaky gut. Insulin resistance creates gut issues. Number 3, carbohydrate density. Overwhelming your body's ability, and it's impairing your insulin sensitivity. So remember, we talk about how when you're resistant, your cell is closed off and you need it to become sensitive. Sensitive. This is a cellular conversation. Sensitive. GLP-1s knock on the door of your pancreas to release insulin. That's their solve. Our solve, you and me, our solve is sensitivity. Cellular conversation, not exhausting the pancreas, not wearing out your pancreas. Come on, pancreas. Come on. You can do it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, Anna. Anna's in the house. Thank you for the crown. I so appreciate you, Anna. You're knocking on the door of your pancreas, and you know pancreas is not, it's not going to live forever, right? Like it does get tired, right? So I'm just telling you. So instead, you and we're going to have a cellular conversation. Let's do that. Okay. So high sugar spiking, inflammation, carbohydrate density, anti-nutrients. Did you know this? Phytic acid interfering with nutrient absorption of minerals like magnesium and zinc. So think about how we are this large consumer of grains in our country. And I don't mean just bread and pasta. That's easy. What about all of the corn syrup in every food you turn over and look at the ingredients on? High fructose corn syrup, there's corn, there's wheat, there's oats. You've been told all of your life that eating oatmeal in the morning is a really good idea, that is so brilliant, that there's just nothing better. Trust me, I know. I was raised on oatmeal. I love me some oatmeal and brown sugar and cinnamon, right? And then I was saying yesterday, when we didn't have money, when I was growing up, my mom would make white rice and we would have powdered milk with sugar and cinnamon on our white rice for dinner. I thought it was a treat. I didn't know we didn't have money. I didn't know. Okay. So I'm just telling you, like, grain is freaking everywhere. And once you start to pay attention, you kind of go, oh, I wasn't really thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about the fact that when I go to have a soda and I'm drinking corn syrup, I'm drinking grain. Oh, I wasn't thinking about the fact that when I ate a granola bar, oats are grain. Like, maybe sometimes we're making that connection. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're only thinking bread and pasta. Okay. So I want to make that differentiation for people just so that you start thinking a little bit more. So literally anti-nutrients. If you cannot absorb your nutrients, your body isn't functioning, and it is really hard to turn things around. One of my greatest testimonies of I don't take just in my line, I don't take just the women's daily. I take the one that has the 3 supplements inside of it. It has a multivitamin, a multimineral, and a phytonutrient. So it has like plants and minerals and vitamins. Okay. So I have a friend of mine, and his dad had sugar issues for years and years and years. And he couldn't get his sugars down, his A1C down. And he starts taking, this is something you take, there's 3 of them and you take them twice a day. And he starts taking it twice a day. And after 4 months, his A1C comes down. He goes on then, this is like 6 years ago, maybe 7, he went on to lose over 50 pounds. Okay, so let's reverse engineer that. When your sugars and your insulin are high, you can't lose weight. His sugars were high. Well, so was his insulin. So he couldn't lose weight. But his body wasn't functioning to bring everything down until he came under it with filling in nutrient deficiencies. He had no idea that that was going to happen. He didn't do it because he was smart, just like me. I didn't make decisions to do my 3 supplements that I started with because I was smart. No, I was ibuprofen girl. I was Metabolife girl. So I wasn't smart, but when it happens, you're like, I need to reverse engineer. Why did this happen? So his nutrient deficiencies got filled in. His A1C comes down. And because his insulin and his sugars come down, he loses over 50 pounds. Okay. So when you're eating grain, phytic acid, there are anti-nutrients in grain. They're very hard on your body. And so and this is what we do, right? From the minute we wake up until the minute we go to bed, we're eating grain as a society. All of us. I mean, this is how we've been raised, whether it's oatmeal or a bagel, or we're drinking a sugar soda, or we're having a granola bar for a snack, or a Subway for lunch. It doesn't matter. Everything you touch in the normal standard American diet has grain in it because it's a cheap crop to produce. Okay. Cheap crops, and they are subsidized by the government. So the phytic acid is interfering with your nutrient absorption. Okay. And it's making you deficient in things like magnesium and zinc. What simple answers could we possibly have? Think about this. The answer is not in scripts. Scripts are not filling in nutrient deficiencies. Do you understand? They are not filling in nutrient deficiencies. You don't have an MET-FOR deficiency. You don't have an STAT deficiency. You don't know. You might have a mineral, you might have a magnesium or a zinc or whatever. I had a text yesterday from somebody who she literally just picked up the the daily that has the multi-mineral, the multivitamin, and the phytonutrient that you take twice a day. I was just talking to you about that. She literally just picked that up because she had labs that said, you're deficient in all these minerals. And I said, I think I have something for you. So I sent her a link to the product and she went, oh my gosh, that's an amazing list. That's everything I'm deficient in. I'm going to try that. I'm like, yes, let's do that. What if it's that easy, you guys? Oh, get fired up. All right, the last one is chemical load, and I will do a review so that everybody can hear all 5. Chemical load. So grains are heavily, heavily, heavily sprayed in our country with pesticides and herbicides. They literally completely disrupt your endocrine system. So think about what we're doing to our little girls or children in general when we're buying them all the mac and cheese, and then they hit puberty and all of their hormones. So disrupting your endocrine system, contributing to metabolic dysfunction and insulin resistance, because insulin is a hormone. So what are we doing to the hormone starting at a very young age by doing, like I was not raised on Hamburger Helper, but I know a lot of people are, or just like we were saying before, hot dish in general, right? Elbow macaroni and all of the pastas that we do in our homes, right? Well, heavily sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, and they disrupt your endocrine system, okay? Which is contributing to your metabolic dysfunction and your insulin resistance. And then you're frustrated because you can't lose weight, because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you're stuck. Like, this is biology. This has nothing to do with my opinion. This is the way that this is. All right, so then I asked the question, so wait a minute, what about if it's gluten-free? What if we just go gluten-free like the state fair? Everything is gluten-free. Gluten-free, gluten-free, gluten-free. Like, this is the hot conversation all the time. And don't get me wrong, I know that there are people who have gluten sensitivities. However, we're talking about insulin resistance. So what I would rather see are things that say keto, 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 because then I know it's going to be grain-free if they're actually telling the truth. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So this was the answer. Pretty much, nope. That's not going to help your insulin sensitivity because the sugar spiking will still be exactly the same. And to be really honest, they said that the toxic load doesn't shift that much, as most things are still not as clean as they need to be. Or no, because gluten-free doesn't mean that they are without chemicals. I apologize. I have to back up my statement on that. So gluten-free, nope, doesn't matter. Still spiking your sugars, still has a toxic load. Okay, so what about if we go gluten-free and we go organic? Like, surely that has to fix everything, and still basically, nope, it's still spiking your sugars, and the sugar is still causing all of that inflammation in your body. So you have to understand that the noise that keeps us from taking action can be reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced until we get to a point where we can make one move. And then, like in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, when I do the challenge every month, we talk about one ingredient, one recipe at a time. Like, we can do this. We can do, if I can do this and I'm Italian, you can do this. I promise you. Could I add a pic of the vitamin that I use? I'm interested in it. Sounds amazing. Renee, I can. I'll send you a link. I can send you a link to that. Commercial sodas are evil. Yes. Barb, great information. Thank you. Thank you, Barb. I'm actually going to highlight that. Thank you. Liz, good morning. Good to see you. Carly, good to see you. Do I have a thought on the low carb noodle options out there, such as Hearts of Palm skinny pasta, which is cognac, or kohlrabi veggie pasta? I think that's a really good question, Carly. Thanks for asking. So this is completely different, right? And what makes this different is we're talking about no grain. So I actually do have a lot of thoughts on that. I feel like those are all really, really good options. So if you've never heard of like the Hearts of Palm, you can even go to Aldi's sometimes and you can get Palmini, which is a brand, and or Costco used to carry like Palmini noodles, or you can get Palmini rice. And so Hearts of Palm is literally just what it sounds like, and they've chopped it up and it kind of is pretty crispy. That's a really good option. Another one is, she's talking about the cognac noodles. That again is I'm trying to remember, what is the I should look that up. What is the basis of that? What is it? Is that a, oh, Jacqueline loves my shirt. I got this at the state fair, you guys. It says full of grace, grit, and no quit. That's my shirt. Proverbs 31:25. Thanks. I got it at the state fair. I usually don't. Japanese veggie. Okay. You think, yeah. Okay. Thanks for saying that, Carla. I know that it's fine. I just don't necessarily know the origin of it. To be really honest, when you buy like the Miracle Noodles or the Palmini or whatever, they kind of have an odor to them, and you rinse them really, 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 really well. If you like those, if that like floats your boat, there's nothing wrong with them. I just apparently don't care enough. Okay. So personally, what I do for like noodle replacement is I do spaghetti squash. And I like that a lot because I can take a spaghetti squash and I can undercook it just a tiny bit. And then when I fork it, it has kind of a little bit of a crunch to it. And I'm able to like maybe put butter, Parmesan, salt, pepper, garlic powder on it. That's my favorite. I don't do zucchini noodles a lot, although you can. That's another option. I feel like I just don't care. If I took the time, I could take zucchini noodles and maybe fry them up in a pan and make them nice and crispy, and they'd be amazing. If I'm going to do Italian, as an Italian, I'm looking for the flavors. So I'm looking for the sauce. I'm looking for, the mozzarella and the Parmesan, etc. Right? So for me, I would rather make my own chicken Parmesan. Okay. Or I would rather make my own keto lasagna using the deli chicken sliced deli chicken for the noodles, which is phenomenal. You guys have no idea. If you haven't tried that one, do not poo-poo me on this. This was the Maria Emmerich tip. It is so, so good. And if you're in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, go to the top corner, go to the search bar and search keto lasagna. I did it as one of the recipes. So every month, this will be our 16th challenge. And in starting September 9th at 2:00 Central Standard Time every day, that Monday through Friday. And every time I do a recipe at the end of it. So there's a nice repertoire of recipes now with a video tutorial. And I try to keep the video tutorial kind of short, like different than my lives when I go live and let's say we make bread and we hang out. I'm trying to make them a little more tutorial-esque, even though they're live, so that you guys can see what they are. Last month, we did a lemon blueberry butter cake you can look this up yourself. The website is called All Day I Dream About Food. And then just put in lemon blueberry butter cake. I doubled the recipe, made it more like a bar. So good. OMG. Something I don't do a lot of because I'm still on my weight loss journey, just like you are. So I've lost 3 sizes. Thank you for that. I so appreciate you. So appreciate you guys on TikTok. Thank you. Because it matters. Out of anybody, I want everybody to, like the content. I want YouTube to subscribe. I want everybody, but TikTok is one of the most important because they literally will not push out your content if people do not engage while you're live. So it's just the way it is. But I've lost 3 sizes in my 50s and, but I'm on my own journey too, right? So I don't do a lot of almond flour because nuts can really stall out your weight. I have not been good about lowering my dairy. I'm still whatever. I go through seasons of being good about dairy. I'm not dairy free at all, but it can slow your weight loss. And when you know these things, then you can just limit it. You can just ask yourself, did I really care about the cheese on that cheeseburger? Or really was it the burger I was after? Did I really need to have that shredded cheese on that salad? Or did I actually not care? And you can just kind of eliminate things and like simmer things down a little bit. You're welcome, Matt. Matt says, thank you for sitting with him. He's doing dialysis. Yeah, Carly, you're so welcome. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. So anyway, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are so nice to me. Look at you guys. You tried the pork rinds for the first time. Not bad. Judy, did you use them as a breading? Is that what you're telling me? Because I will tell you, oh, it's a tree root, Janet. Thank you. So Carly, it's a tree root. What do I think of carbonated water? I think that it's just fine. I guess I don't know. And I don't feel like that has been, I'm not a carbonated person. So I feel like I've never had a reason to look into it, if that makes sense. So if there is this is what I will say. This is what pops into my brain right away, because my brain has like little flashes of thought. Our gut health is connected to our oral health. Our oral health can affect the rest of our body a lot more than we even understand. Like you can have something happen in your mouth that can affect your heart. Okay. So oftentimes we are very acidic in everything that we eat. We're very acidic. And so for instance, the gut primer that I've been using, it was just launched in August. I am loving this gut primer. Do I love the taste of it? Not really, because I don't like tea. But one of the ingredients out of the 6, like this is a really amazing product. I digress. But one of them is alkaline spices, which can then reverse and help your mouth. If somebody said to me, Kirsten, carbonated water is ruining everything that's alkaline in your mouth, so that if you're drinking sparkling water, let's say I'm drinking 6 sparkling waters a day, like I'm drinking a LaCroix all day, which I'm not, but let's say I was. And somebody said to me, drinking that carbonated water all day is ruining any alkaline opportunity in your mouth. I would probably research it and shift it, because I've had enough oral issues over my life. Like when I started to have issues from my pregnancies in my 20s, they immediately jumped in and started doing root canals and crowns and all sorts of crap that I personally now, because now I'm 59, so obviously those procedures just fail. Now with new understanding of holistic dentistry, I would have done things differently. So if there was a personal connection for me, I know that's a long answer, but that's why I haven't looked into it. So I don't know what the thought process is. Kayla says she appreciates me talking about the low carb tortillas. You see many say that they have insulin resistance and still eat low carb bread and tortillas. You want to shake them and say, no, it doesn't help you. It just doesn't help you at all. Okay, yes, you're using the pork rinds for the breading. I love the pork rinds for breading. You guys, these are some of the easiest things that you can do. This is why I so confidently sit here and I say, listen, I'm still a total foodie. I didn't have to give it up. In 2024, literally every ingredient that you need or want, other than egg white protein powder, and you can still buy it online, is at Walmart. There's no need to think that this is hard anymore. You have to release this thought process, or that you have to hate your life, or that you have to suffer. No, it's the opposite. So there's a brand called Pork, Porq. And just right next to the breadcrumbs, you can see them sitting there. And what's probably keeping people from buying them is that they're more expensive. Duh, of course they are. But just offset it with the Doritos that you're not buying anymore. I'm just telling you, like when you stop buying the big bag of Doritos that have this much in them and you're paying for air, you can afford a lot of other things, right? So now I do know that some of the flavored ones, they are, they can have sketchy ingredients. So just pay attention. So I buy the original and I season it myself. That's what I do. But I'll buy chicken wings, bread them and put them in the air fryer. They're amazing. Like they really do crisp up and they have amazing flavor. So very, very good. I know oral health is so important. And I just lived on a lazy, and lazy is the wrong word, but it's the only description that I can come up with I just got on the river of life in my 20s. And whatever they said to do, I just did. Whether it was at my my doctor's appointments for having babies, or after I had babies and I had a catheter in, and they'd say, oh, we have a student that would like to practice on you. And I'm like, well, of course, no problem. And then it was like a horrible experience. Or, with oral health, you go to the dentist, and I just thought dentists knew all and that they were next to God in terms of their answer and their assessment. Oh, you need yet another root canal. Okay. Oh, I have to go to an endodontist. Okay. And I just didn't do any research. I didn't pay attention. I just want you guys to understand, like, that's where I was. That's who I was. I just was on the river of life, the passive river of life, where you don't become your own advocate, where you just ibuprofen because the ad looked good on TV. And then when you take the ibuprofen, you feel so good. Or you take the Metabolife because you just are so desperate to lose weight, but you're so not even remotely addressing the issue, which would have been so much easier, actually, is now what I know in my 50s. But I didn't know that in my 30s. Do you understand? So when I got to the point where I start supplementing for my insulin resistance. Let's see if I can find the 3 that matter, because sometimes they get confusing in my pill box, but I can do it. I've done this long enough. This is how my brain works. Don't ask. Don't ask. But these 3 right here, this is what I started with over 10 years ago. Not because I was a granola person. I was the furthest thing from a granola person. Do you know what I mean when I say granola person, right? Like a tree hugger, whatever the terminology is. I'm dating myself, I'm sure. But I'm just saying, like, no. I did this because I wanted to. Somebody said earlier, we all just want a pill. Well, guess what? I wanted a pill. I didn't want to trade out my food. Wasn't interested. Pretty much decided that was never going to happen. So I wanted a pill. So these 3 right here, this is what I did. They helped me and are still helping me lose 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. Why? Because it's a different conversation. The conversation is cellular, and the conversation is insulin resistance. So the conversation isn't points. It's not calorie deficit only. It's not, I wish I had a third device. I actually screenshotted an ad for Nutrisystem, and because it just irks me to no end. And I'm going to tell you why. Do I doubt that people are losing weight on the system? Nope. I'm sure that they are. Of course, they have testimonies, and that's good, right? Like, I want a company to be legit, and I want a company to have real testimonies. Like, this is important. We don't want to just be making crap up, okay? However, all of that prepackaged food, are you kidding me? What are we doing? We're still not talking about real food yet? What are we doing? I took care of my mom with dementia for 5 years. I'm not interested anymore. I will supplement continuously from what I've been doing for 10 years. I'll continue to supplement, and I'll continue to make real food. Thank you. And when I do have food that's subpar, it's like at the state fair. Like once a year I go to the state fair, and I'm going to have some subpar food, and I'm going to eat grilled shrimp on a skewer that, maybe that butter that they put on there had a seed oil mixed in there with it. I don't know. I'm just not buying it for my house, because it's not about perfection. It's about progression. We've got to lower the toxic load on our bodies. Hi, Hope. Good to see you. It's too much work. Old people don't have the energy to follow all that. Too costly. I disagree. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. I can teach people how to eat, and it doesn't have to be costly. You can go to Aldi's, and there's a Never Any brand that you can buy Italian sausages. They're chicken sausages. You can do that instead of, it is inexpensive for as much as inflation has completely trashed the price of eggs and everything else. Eggs are still inexpensive. they're still not expensive, right? And you can get a lot of good fat and a lot of good protein, and you'll be satiated for a longer period of time. These are the things that we talk about in the challenge. The group is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And every month we do a challenge so that you have a track to run on. I talk about, let's start with targeted supplementation. Then I'm going to teach you ingredient trade outs as an Italian girl. Then we're going to do a challenge every month so that you can get a nugget and a nugget and a nugget. And oh, I'll trade out that ingredient. Oh, I'll try this recipe. And then give yourself time. One of the hardest things that I deal with, I'm not going to lie, one of the hardest things is, and I understand it because it was me, is the impatience to heal our bodies. It's challenging. I know that I have a lot of really great testimonies. And if you don't know about the testimonies of this trio right here, go to my Instagram page and there's a pink highlight bubble at the top of the page. Give yourself 5 minutes, a good 5 minutes, so that you can read through the testimonies, okay? Do that. If you're in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, guide number 4. I know that there are a lot of really good testimonies. Somebody losing 5.5 pounds in a week, or I've actually got them right. 5.5 pounds in 5 days, 5 pounds in a week, 9.5 pounds in 3 weeks, 25 pounds over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, 10 pounds in a month, 23 pounds in 10 weeks. Somebody this summer, she got off of 2 BP meds, I think in a month. I get it. But you know what? Everybody has a lot of different factors. And the best thing that you can do for yourself, because listen, the time is going to pass anyway. I'm going to be 60 in January. I can't slow that down. 1 year from now, it'll be August of 2025, and I will be 60. Okay? So in that year, either I'm going to make steps to move forward towards my weight loss goal or towards my health goal, or I'm not, just like you and just like everybody else. So if it takes me longer, and I got to be honest, I have been slower than the average bear. I wasn't the fast one. I was the slow one. And a big part of it is because I also was dealing with a lot of my own food conversation in my brain. So being Italian, you have tracks. You're supposed to eat, but then when you eat, you gain weight. And when you gain weight, you're told to lose weight. And then when you lose weight, you're told not to get too skinny and blah, 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 blah. And then there's a lot of food pushers in your life. And there's just a lot, right? So some of you have a lot of food conversation. That's me. Some of you are on a lot of scripts. Well, do you think maybe scripts could be impeding your progress? Like probably 100% true. Some of you, maybe you have some trauma that's in your life. I don't have trauma from my childhood. I think we all have, stuff, whatever. I could have a whole spiritual conversation on that, and do behind the scenes oftentimes with people. But sometimes there's trauma. And where there's trauma, it doesn't even have to be trauma, but I'll just use it and I'll keep talking about it anyway. There's self-sabotage. So one of the hardest things is for somebody to start a routine like this, and after 2 weeks say it's not working for me. I don't think your body's going to right itself in 2 weeks. And I would never want somebody to think I'm making that claim, because that's not true. Instead, let's have this conversation. It is it's August 30th today. August 30th. September 30th, October, November, December, 4 months until the end of the year. 4 months. Let's do this instead. Let's go on a 4-month journey together, where you're learning how to have some consistency in your supplement routine, because maybe you are like me and you've never supplemented before. Let's go on a journey of the challenge is going to start on September 9th, and it's going to go until Friday, September 13th. And every day at 2 p.m., I'm going to go live. And if you can't make it live, that's okay. It'll be on the replay in the group. You don't even have to sign up for it. Just get into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and allow yourself to extract 1 nugget a day. Just 1. And not feel pressured to know everything or to adopt everything or to change everything, because we're going to do another one in October. And then we're going to do another one in November. And then we're going to do another one in December. So let's walk this journey towards the end of the year. Okay. And then what happens is all of a sudden you trade out an ingredient, you trade out a recipe. Maybe you tell some of these thoughts to sit down and shut up. Maybe you've taken a moment and you've told a food bully, you know what? No, thank you. I'm not hungry right now. I'll let you know when I am. Maybe I've had these texts come to me. I love these texts. Oh God, you guys, I have some of the best texts. I had you in my ear. I'm listening to you live. I'm on replay, listening to you. Actually, so that's contradictory. I get it. I'm listening to you on replay. You're in my ear on my AirPod. And I was walking into a grocery store and I changed what I purchased. Or I was ready to go through the drive-through. And I don't remember if she either changed what she was going to order or she turned around. I don't remember that one. But I'm just telling you, like, let's just go on this journey together, you guys. Listen, this has been a journey for me. So you've got to allow yourself grace. August 2025, close your eyes. It's August 2025. It's 1 year from now. Did you sabotage yourself and say, it's not working for me? Did you sabotage yourself and say, you never did it before, girl? What makes you think you're going to do it now? Like, you're too old to make these changes. Well, I didn't start changing out my foods until it was shy of my 51st birthday. I didn't even start supplementing until honestly, you guys, I'm such a bad example of having done anything right prior to this. I'm such a bad example. That's just the way that it is. Deborah, long time no see. Yes, Liz, you disagree also? It's change how you think about foods. Oops, there we go. You have a lot of food conversation in your head. They all have different accents. That's the best I've ever heard. I have a lot of food conversations in my head. They all have different accents just to make life fun. Oh my gosh, that is hysterical, Liz. I think I have to steal that from you. That is so good. That is so good. Oh my gosh, yes. Joanne, agree. Very slow journey for me since January, but still lost 14 pounds at a plateau. Yay! But staying the course and listening to your lives and challenges. Joanne, I'm so happy because you know what? We do have to tweak. Your responsibility in all of this is to assess yourself. You have to become a personal assessor. And that means assessing your thoughts, assessing your daily routine of taking supplementation. How you doing? Are you taking this one 3 times a day? Are you taking these twice a day? How you doing? Assessing your ingredients. God, you know what? When I eat dairy, man, that slows down my weight loss. Dang it. All right, fine. I'm going to find an alternative for that particular food. Doesn't mean you have to go give up everything all the time. You just make tweaks, or like myself, when I was taking care of my mom, this was a big one for me. Taking care of my mom, and she had dementia, and it was a 5-year journey for my sister and I. And so for part of the journey, she was living in independent living and I was her assisted living. I quit my job and I went to be her assisted living every day, wherever she was living. And then she moved into my sister's house because the shutdown happened and we pulled her out of the system because we're the consumers and we did not need their services anymore because they were doing it really, really badly. So we pulled her. We lived with my sister and I would go over there a couple of days a week and I would do showers and everything else. And then she moved in with me and then my sister came to my house a couple of days a week and did the showers. We flip-flopped. But over those 5 years, do you think maybe there was a little bit of stress eating? Anybody? Just me? So one of my go-to stress eaters was nuts. My sister always had the beautiful package of mixed nuts from Costco. They're so good, you guys. It's that Kirkland brand of mixed nuts. They're really, really good. But nuts slows my weight loss down. So I don't buy them. And since I don't, so like at my sister's, I had to make the choice while I was there to stop eating nuts when I was there, because dementia sucks. I don't know if anybody knows this or not. Maybe just kidding. It's a sucky thing. And it has to do with insulin resistance of the brain. Okay, I digress. So nuts, I had to stop. Now, was I perfect all the time? Nope. There were still some days that I was like, so much going on. Wow. So I sat down and ate nuts. Now, when she came to my house, I stopped buying the nuts because I couldn't have them in my own house because slowing down weight loss. And now I just haven't bought them forever. So now what I do is I go to my daughter's house because she buys them. So every now and then when I go over there, I'll eat some of her nuts because that's my treat, right? But in general, I don't do massive amounts of nuts because I had to assess myself. It's the gift you give to yourself that you're going to assess and you're going to tweak. And so like Joanne said, slow journey for me since January, but she has still lost 14 pounds. Would you be okay with having lost 14 pounds since January? The time passed anyway. She could either gain weight, stay the same, or lose weight. She lost weight. So she could have either gained 14, stayed the same, or lost 14. Which is your pick, right? So she's at a plateau, but she's staying the course and she's listening to the content and doing the challenges in the group. And sometimes you do have to tweak again and again and again. And sometimes you're like, oh, I am eating just way too much fat. And by the way, Joanne, if you haven't done it yet, go to Maria's website, mariamindbodyhealth.com. Maybe you've already done this and do the macros, do her free macro chart so you can see where you are on your protein and on the fats and on your carbs so that you know what to track or what to tweak. That'll help you. You like nuts and yogurt. Any suggestions? Oh, that sounds really good. Well, it depends on what your goal is. I was probably eating a very large amount of nuts because I was eating right out of the canister. If you're putting a small amount in your yogurt, that might not be an issue. But nuts and dairy both. So what is it that you have to ask yourself these questions? Okay, what is it that I really like about the nuts and yogurt? What is it? Is it because it's convenient? Is it because it's creamy? Is it because it's sweet and salty? Is it because, what is it? And then recreate it to the best of your ability in another way. And so I'm trying to think of what would be a trade-off for that. The truth is that nuts are not a non-keto food. They are a keto food. It's just that they can mess with our weight loss. That's the problem. You have to redo your macros, redo them. And you know what? Even if, like she teaches PSMF, protein sparing modified fast, where 2 days a week, you lower that barrier of fat. You don't do it long-term because your hormones need to stay happy. But for 2 days a week, you just kind of squelch it and you go straight protein and you really kind of like lean protein. You do straight lean protein a couple of days a week and see if that can like shift you into another gear. Megda says, what about pepitas with yogurt? That's actually not a bad idea. Pepitas are lower in carbs. They are lower in carbs, and that's not a bad idea. I've done pepitas with, like when I make a keto granola, and again, I don't keep this in my house all the time, but we did make it in June in the group. For the challenge, and it was a keto granola and it had pepitas in it. I think I even still have some in my cupboard because I don't like to eat them by themselves. So that is a better option. Yeah, try pepitas and just see. And also make sure that your yogurt is full fat. And I never buy flavored yogurt. This is just me. I want full fat yogurt, or sometimes I'm doing the 2% at Costco. Okay. But I want full fat yogurt because it has less. You just want the fat. Like this is the whole point. You want the good fats. Full fat yogurt, I buy it plain. I sweeten it myself with a liquid stevia. I don't want all of their mess. I don't need their mess. I want a full fat Greek yogurt like Faye. I sweeten it with liquid stevia like caramel, vanilla, nummy nummy. And then I can add stuff into it. Okay. That's what I would do. Or if you have a Ninja Creamy Deluxe, that's my latest toy. You can make yogurt, frozen yogurt, and it's really good. So Meg just says that's what she does because she's a nut addict. Yes, that is the thing. I could just eat nuts all day long. Like that's just the way that it goes, right? So anyway, all right, I'm going to just briefly read this for you, and then we're going to wrap up. And if you have any questions, the website is mariamindbodyhealth.com. mariamindbodyhealth.com. And if you type in the search engine free macro, she's going to give you the best answer, in my opinion. There's a lot of crappy information out there, really bad, dumb information. She does not teach a high fat keto. She teaches a high protein keto. And I am telling you, it makes a difference. High fat keto was developed for epilepsy, thus the connection with the brain. High protein keto will actually help you to lose weight, if that's your goal. Okay. And then if you want to get in the group, it's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. This is a group I started 16 months ago. We have about 4,600 women in there now. We do a challenge every single month. The next one starts on September 9th, and it's a great way for you to get resourced. And then if you are looking to, you're like, okay, I want to do a run. I want to do from here to the end of the year. And you want to start with the trio, and the trio isn't always just this is the base. Okay. But still, this is a great base. 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. You can put trio in the comments on Facebook and I'll see it there, or Instagram, you have to get into my inbox, or TikTok, you have to go up to my profile and you either have to portal yourself over to IG. There's a little icon, or there's a number, and you can text me and say, I was on your live and you were talking about the trio. Anybody can do this in my messenger, my inbox, it doesn't matter. Or text me. I was on your live and you were talking about the trio. Will you send me a cart with all 3 of them in there? I just want to see what they look like. And maybe that's what you want to do. And then I can remind you where the testimonies are, and maybe even just help you to tweak or customize anything that you need. Because there are a lot of you're not sleeping, and maybe you need to talk about stress, cortisol, and ashwagandha. There are a lot of you that have a lot of inflammation, and you need to bring that down. So that's a big deal. Judy, what are you saying? Let me know if I can help you. Hey, Sherry, good to see you. Judy, let me know, because I feel like I'm missing something that you're saying. So why ditch grain? Why stop eating zero carb tortillas and keto bread from Aldi's? 5 reasons. Number 1, grain is very high sugar spiking, and when you're insulin resistant, it's not serving you well. Number 2, inflammation. Grain just causes inflammation. So if you have leaky gut, which can be caused by insulin resistance, or if you have IBS, no bueno. Number 3, carbohydrate density. So you're overwhelming your body with carbohydrates, which was the beginning of the problem to begin with, and it's impairing your insulin sensitivity. Number 4, anti-nutrients. So there's a lot of phytic acid, which is interfering with your nutrient absorption. And when you have nutrient absorption issues, you're not getting fixed. Your insulin resistance isn't turning back. And because you're then deficient in minerals such as like magnesium, zinc, and other things that you're needing for your body to actually be able to function and for your engine to be running. And the last one is the chemical load, which are the pesticides and the herbicides, because they're disrupting your endocrine system, contributing to metabolic dysfunction with and insulin resistance. And it doesn't matter if things are gluten-free. If it's grain, it's still to be left aside. It doesn't matter if it's gluten-free and even organic. It's not the problem. It's the grain that's the problem. It's not gluten sensitivities. That's another conversation. We're having a completely different conversation in this circle of insulin resistance. So being grain-free, I'm 100% grain-free. And that includes the grains of the corn that are in the corn syrup and all of the products that you see on the market, the sodas that you're drinking. There's grain everywhere. We were raised to believe that it was heart healthy to eat oatmeal for breakfast or Cheerios or Rice Krispies or whatever, and we've trashed our metabolic system. This is why we're having such a hard time losing weight. This is why we ache. This is why we can't sleep at night. This is why we're crashing in the middle of the day. This is why we have hormonal acne. This is why we have infertility. This is why we get gout in our feet. This is why we feel inflamed and just horrible all the time. It literally is the very basis of everything is insulin resistance, and we have to turn it back. But the great news is that it's 100% turnaroundable, 100%. But you just have to get some good information. And there are good people to give you good information. Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, Maria Emmerich. This is the stuff that I've studied now for so long so that I can turn around and give it back to people. I'm not the creator of the recipes. I just make them. And then I enjoy them. You know, I can give you my story, but you have to get your own story, right? So hold on. Okay, I feel like I know I'm missing something on Facebook, but that's okay. The lady's website, Maria Mind Body Health. All four of those words together. Maria Mind Body Health.com. Her name is Maria Emmerich. Emmerich. I usually have books from her. I have them up on my shelf right there. She has a lot of free recipes. She talks about a lot of very creative ingredient trade outs. She's been keto now for almost 30 years. And it comes from such an incredibly honest place of her dog was sick. She took her dog to the vet. The vet asked her what she's feeding the dog. Don't you actually wonder that all the time too? I know that I've had my cat is now on grain-free food, not because I'm some granola person, but because she was irping. She was throwing up. And I was going to solve that problem. So guess what I did? I went, oh, I bet all this crap in her kibble is making her throw up. Her tummy can't do it. Okay, so she's grain-free. Guess what she doesn't do very much? Like literally hardly ever throw up. So she said, the veterinarian is asking me what I feed my dog. Why isn't the doctor asking me what I'm eating? I've been diagnosed with IBS and PCOS. And she put 2 and 2 together at a young age. Praise God, she did that. Changed her life. Now she changes other people's lives. What about people who eat oatmeal and they lowered their cholesterol and lose weight? You're welcome, Judy. So, such a good question, Sherry. Oh my gosh, you're opening a Pandora's box. First, you have to believe that cholesterol causes heart disease. That's not true. Your body makes cholesterol to go patch up the issues and the potholes that are in your arteries. They're the firefighters. Cholesterol is the firefighters. So they've given us bad information and then they sold us an answer to it. That's why it says heart healthy on the Quaker Oat box. That's a lie. So what happens is with insulin resistance causing all of the inflammation, this is where the issues lie. It's the overconsumption of carbohydrates, and insulin resistance then leads to high blood pressure, leads to issues within your arteries with all of the inflammation that's going on in your body. Like when you have constipation all the time and you get diverticulitis, it's because of the pockets that are being created inside of your colon from the constipation. It's not because sometimes then, so let's say you have diverticulitis, like I'm going down a path, I'm going to have to come back because otherwise I'll go down that path too far. So if you have diverticulitis and you think you should be eating popcorn because popcorn has fiber in it, but yet it's messing up your colon because you have diverticulitis pockets in your colon, like we're not thinking straight. Because we're thinking we have to have more fiber, which means we need to have more bulky vegetables, but the bulky vegetables might be creating more inflammation when it's the cycle that they have us on because they've taught us that. So for people who eat oatmeal to take down their cholesterol and lose weight, first of all, potentially they're not insulin resistant. And second of all, it's just a really bad idea. Super inflammatory, super sugar spiking, really sugar spiking. And it's and if it's not organic, super covered in pesticides. And I'm just not willing to compromise. If I choose not to buy organic I eat berries for fruit. If I choose not to eat organic berries for fruit because I don't want to pay the price, if I choose not to purchase those, then I'm not going to buy grains that have pesticides all over them. It's a really bad idea, really bad, hard on our bodies. Our bodies can't do it anymore. Can I repeat Maria's info again? I sure can. 4 words, Maria. It's all one strung together. No dots or anything in between. And you can just Google her name. Maria Mind Body Health.com. And her last name is Emmerich, EMMERICH. So anyway, can I name some of my go-to foods? Yes, I'm going to get off right now and I'm going to eat because I haven't eaten yet today. Sometimes I wake up and I'm really, really hungry and I eat, and sometimes I don't. And today I wasn't. So I did my gut primer, I did my probiotic, I did my trio and some other supplements that I take. Very targeted in my supplementation. So I did my trio and et cetera, and my adaptogenic herbs, but I haven't eaten. So I will get off here. And I think today what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 3 eggs, and I'm going to have a chicken sausage from Aldi's, the Never Any brand. And it's going to be Italian sausage. And that's going to be my breakfast. And that's going to be about 32 grams of protein. Things that I keep on hand for snacks would be like string cheese. I do like having that on hand. I like to make that egg white bread. The last one that I make was not my favorite. It was a chocolate one because I mistakenly purchased the chocolate egg white protein powder off of Amazon. I will never do that again. I won't make that mistake. I love the taste, but it does not make a good egg white bread because it just messes with it. But I like having egg white bread on hand. I like having, and these are all in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Go find the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and you can find these recipes. The egg white bread, sugar-free chocolate pudding, that's made with coconut milk and egg whites. I love that. I have a Ninja Creamy now, so I like that. I like to do chicken wings and bread them with pork panko. I like to make hamburgers. Like I just fry up cheeseburgers, with like fried up onions and, stuff like that. I just don't do it with the bun. I'm trying to think of what else. I do a lot of eggs. And in fact, I'm waiting to get my local egg lady has not had, I wanted to reach out to her again. I wanted 10 dozen eggs and she didn't have 10 dozen eggs. So I'm waiting for her chickens to collect a few eggs. But I love good farm fresh eggs. Think about what that's doing for our hormones. Think about what that's doing for our brains. God didn't make a mistake. We don't have to alter the perfection of what God made in an egg, or in beef. And the fact that beef has almost an identical amino profile to your own human muscle. There's a reason for that. We've just ruined our food is all. We just ruined it. And so once we're insulin resistant, we have to just turn back. But we can. It's exciting. And people get back their function. And I get these amazing messages from you guys and amazing testimonies. So it's really good. So if you need anything, I'm available. You can always, leave messages on my Facebook profile. I have a personal one, Kirsten Liebelt. I have a business one, Kirsten Liebelt. I have an Instagram, Kirsten Liebelt. I have a TikTok, Kirsten Liebelt. Actually, and it also might say, basically turn around insulin resistance with Kirsten or something like that. And then I'm also on YouTube, Kirsten Liebelt. So you can find my information and my contact information anywhere. And, even as this weekend goes forward now with Labor Day being at hand, and we have a lot of opportunity to eat a lot of food that maybe we know is not great for us, just consider for yourself maybe taking a minute to find a recipe that you'll make for yourself and bring with you to the picnic, or have on hand at your house because you're hosting, or just eat the grilled meats and be okay with that. And maybe have like I like to take a cucumber, slice the cucumber, and then I use powdered swerve and salt and some cream. And it just is so yummy. It's like my own little cucumber salad. And I get the cucumbers from my daughter. So they're organic and they're amazing. And I'm not perfect with all of my ingredients at all. But when I can make simple decisions like that, I do. And if you practice just this one time for this one picnic, you'll surprise yourself. And then you can be proud of yourself that you made that keto lemon blueberry butter cake bar thing that we made in the group in August. And you made a pan of that. It's an 8x8 pan, or if you double it, I put it on a jelly roll sheet, and you brought that to the picnic. Be proud of yourself that you brought something for yourself. Everybody, every time I'm making this particular one, everybody's eating it. They don't even have to be sugar-free. Everybody loves it, but I'm making it with swerve and it tastes really, really good. And people are like, oh my gosh, and they're just snarfing it down. So you're not bringing something that's weird. You're doing a service for yourself and for everybody else around you, but just try something. And then a week from this coming Monday on September 9th, you guys, that's when we're going to start the challenge for September. So if you've never seen me before, you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can get into the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and we'll start the challenge. There's no fee. There's no sign up. I'll be live in the group, and then the replays get posted in the featured section. So you could spend your Labor Day weekend right now. You could get into the Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. You're going to get tagged in a free recipe snack pantry PDF. You can go to the featured section, watch the 5-day challenge from August, and go to the guide number 4, and read the testimonies on the trio, the 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. You could do something different for your Labor Day. I'm just telling you, it's a 3-day weekend. There are a lot of people that have time on their hands to do something different that they normally wouldn't do. And maybe that's you, and you're like, doggone it, I do want to go into the holidays different. I do want to hit Halloween and be a little more prepared in my thought process. I do want to know how to make a keto pumpkin roll. That's in the group too, so that I have that ready for bringing with to Thanksgiving, or just October, because it's pumpkin season. And maybe you feel like you're missing out on a pumpkin treat because you're normally going to Starbucks and grabbing their pumpkin scone or whatever. Maybe you do something different. That was actually one of the easiest recipes I've ever made. But I'm just telling you, like, you can have a completely different trajectory. Okay. So anyway, no veggies. Yes, I do veggies, but I do no starch veggies. So if I'm going to do veggies, I'm going to do cucumbers, or zucchini, spaghetti squash, onions. Even onions have carbs, you guys. So don't be fooled thinking that veggies are all free of everything. No, they're not. They're free in Weight Watchers. We are having a completely different conversation that will actually help you get results as an insulin resistant person that can't lose weight or that wants to get off of meds or avoid meds. You and I, we're going to have a different conversation. So those are the veggies that I usually choose. Trying to think of anything else that I really like. Mostly everything is green. Like even in my gut primer, these are fermented greens that are in here. So yes, veggies, yes. Fruits, I don't do any fruits other than berries. Fruits are very high sugar spiking. Did God create fruit poorly? No, he did an amazing job. But guess what we did? We messed up our food supply. I'm just telling you. Do you know that my mom worked for the Landscape Arboretum, which is the horticulture division of the University of Minnesota? It takes 20 years to bring an apple to market. And they are hybriding. I know I'm saying that wrong, but they're combining and combining and combining and combining to get the perfect sweetness and the perfect crunch and the perfect whatever. And they bring it to market. So by the time we get that apple, that's not a normal apple anymore. I'm not saying it's a bad apple, but it's probably sweeter than it used to be. So those little like Halo mandarin oranges that we're like feeding our kids by the bagful, super bad idea. Do they taste amazing? Of course they do. They taste like freaking candy, but they have been altered. So once we are insulin resistant and we have, which comes from the overconsumption of carbohydrates over a long period of time, once we're insulin resistant, we think like, oh, well, we can still be eating this and we can still be eating that and we can still be doing this. No, you can't. But you're confused, right? You're going, but wait a second. I went to my doctor and they told me I could have 150 carbs a day. They told me I could have 48 carbs at every meal. No, you can't. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I got this boldness from somebody like Maria Emmerich, who said, I'm going to freaking tell you the truth. They're giving you bad advice. Now, whether or not it's on purpose to get you on scripts is a whole nother conversation. And you can make that decision for yourself. But let's just stop at they're giving you really bad advice. Way too sugar spiking. Way too sugar spiking. So absolutely every single fruit that you buy at the store now is completely different than its original formation. It's just not the same. And all the crops, they've all been genetically modified so they don't reproduce themselves. Is that normal? No. For thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we have had grains that can reproduce. And now all of a sudden they're dead in the water? I wonder if that's wise. No, it's not. It's not. So they're messing us up and we have to stop it. We got to switch it back. So anyway, I get really fired up. Can you tell? So do something different for Labor Day. And if you need anything, let me know. Okay. And I'd be more than happy to help you. Low power on my TikTok. I'd be more than happy to help you. Even over Labor Day, I will be at the fair all day on Sunday, the Minnesota State Fair. So I will be gone all day on Sunday, but otherwise I will be around, and I have plans to be back on Monday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is what I do here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then in 10 days, we'll start the challenge. So if you need anything, let me know. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for having such a great day with me. It's been really fun. I so appreciate you. You have no idea. You make my day so much better. See you later.